Now let's talk about the grip, how you're going to grip the firearm. So what we're going to do with our grip is we're going to start off with our strong hand. Again, if you're right-handed, right hand would be your strong hand. If you're left, left would be your strong hand. You're going to start with your strong hand. And you're going to take the webbing, this little area here, between your thumb and index finger. And you're going to slide it as high up into this back strap as possible. You're going to squeeze it up in there. You're going to squeeze that hand up into there as high as it can possibly go. From here, we're going to make sure that trigger finger stays off the trigger on the frame of the weapon. The remaining 3 fingers here are going to roll underneath of the trigger guard, directly under the trigger guard and around the grip. So this would be a good grip with our strong hand. Now from here, we're going to lift this thumb up and give it some space. What we're going to do is we're going to fill this there's a little notch kind of right here in our thumb area. The goal is going to be that we're going to want the bone on our support hand to fit into this notch. Now if you're watching this at home, I can almost guarantee you're probably doing what most students do, and you're probably trying to find that right now. And I can tell you, unfortunately, it doesn't really work unless you have the gun-shaped object in your hand. So you'd probably have to get a hairdryer or something to try that out. But this is what we want to do, is we want to get this bone down into this notch. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to start our support hand forward, and we're going to slide it down the barrel towards our strong hand like so until we feel it catch. Now it's not going to lock into place, but you'll feel it kind of catch in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our remaining 4 fingers, we're going to come directly under that trigger guard. And we're going to wrap them around our other fingers. We're then going to take our thumbs and we're going to point them straight down the barrel of the firearm. So if you looked at it from the top view, you've got 2 thumbs and a finger all pointing down the barrel straight towards the target. This is an ideal way to grip the firearm. Now also you'll notice by doing this, what I accomplished is I closed off this space right here. A lot of people will hold the gun kind of like this and they get this sloppy area going on because they try to just put their hand on there like so. But it's very important that you, especially while learning this technique, because this might be a new grip for some of you, it's very important that you slide this back into place, feeling it catch, and then grip. Because you notice again, I've taken all that area and covered it up. And that's what we want to do, is try to get a good grip all the way around this firearm. Let's talk about 2 alternate grips. One alternate to this grip would be that you point your thumbs straight up. Now some people worry about doing this. They say, oh, this slide is moving. I don't want it to get my thumbs. Well, no, it's fine. You can point your thumbs straight up and that is acceptable. Sometimes you have to do that because depending on your firearm, you might have devices such as safeties and that kind of thing that are in the way that you can't really get your thumbs to lay straight across on. So straight up is an acceptable way to grip. The other alternative grip would be from this position to roll your strong thumb down and bring your support thumb over the top, curling over the top like so. Now this doesn't give you as good a grip on this firearm, but this is the way you have to grip a revolver, because obviously you'd have the cylinder in the way here. So you would have to grip a revolver in this manner. So this would be the proper way to grip a revolver. It's an alternate grip for a semi-automatic. But the ideal grip would be to come with your thumb sliding down, catching, and both thumbs pointing straight down the barrel. Let's talk about what not to do. If you are firing a semi-automatic, do not ever cross your thumb behind like so. Some people want to bring their thumb around like this. They, for whatever reason, feel like it gives them a better grip, and they'll leave their thumb here. Guess what happens when that slide goes? That slide comes back right across the top of their thumb, slices it good. So you don't want to cross your thumbs behind the slide. It's okay to have them anywhere along the side of the slide. It won't hurt you here. But if you cross behind, what that's going to do is let that slide come right over the top of your thumb and slice it really good. So be sure not to cross your thumbs behind. Now, when we're talking about grip, which hand do you think should be gripping tighter on this firearm? Well, a lot of times people assume it's the strong hand, right? This is my strong hand. This is the one that's going to grip strong. Well, in actuality, we want to grip tight with our support hand. In fact, 75 to 80% of our grip should come from our support hand. That means when we're wrapped around here, we've got this support hand grip nice and tight, squeezing down on our strong hand. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let go with my strong hand, my right hand here. I'm going to let go. Check that out. I've still got a pretty good grip on that gun, right? Because I'm gripping down with that support hand. It's doing all the grip for me. So I really don't need a lot of grip here with my strong hand. This comes into play for a couple of reasons. Number one is that it gives me better control of the firearm. Because if I grip really tight with my strong hand, you'll notice that I've got a lot of area here that's unsupported if I'm not gripping very good with my weak hand. So it's all unsupported, allows the gun to kind of tilt in my hand. But if I grip nice and tight with my support hand, I've covered this area up, and I've also got my fingers around my strong fingers, kind of like a vise, so it allows it to, see, really grip in there nice and tight, so that I've got a good grip on that weapon just with my support hand. It actually pushes onto the strong hand to create a good support all the way around the grip of the weapon. So you'll notice, go ahead and Jessica, what I'm going to ask you to do is grip tight with your strong hand here and weak with your support hand. So nice and tight here, nice and weak here, and watch the movement of the gun. It's kind of a loose movement to the left where her support hand is. Now switch that back up the way it should be, 75-80% of your grip from your support hand and loose grip from your strong hand. Now notice there's very little play in this gun. It stays nice and firm in our hands. Let's talk about what else we don't want to do with our grip. One common thing we see people do is they get this grip going on here and they put a finger right up on this trigger guard here, right on the front of it. It looks like it's designed for a finger to go there because it has some grippy area in there, but we're not sure why the manufacturers have done that. We've actually talked to a few about it. Nobody can explain that for us. This is not where you want your finger. And the reason why is simple. If you're putting your hand up here with your finger, what happens almost inevitably to shooters that keep their hand up here is if they're a right-handed shooter putting their left hand up here, they shoot to the left. And if they're a left-handed shooter putting their left finger up here, or their right finger up here, they shoot to the right. Why is this? Because when they grip down and fire, they tend to pull with that finger. So you can see that it's pulling. So do not place your finger up on the front of the trigger guard. All fingers, all of them, with the exception of your trigger finger, should be underneath of this trigger guard.